You're listening to the Real Elevation podcast. I'm your host, Mike Hendricks, and here we discuss topics on personal fitness, well-being, and elevation of mind and body. Join us as we help build and grow a community of real, elevated men and women. If you're currently feeling frustrated, flat, and fed up with life, or want to be a physically and mentally elevated individual, you're invited to join us each and every week here on the Real Elevation podcast. Welcome to the RE family and get ready to elevate your mind and body. Welcome to the Real Elevation podcast. I'm your host Mike Hendricks, and today we have another outstanding, informative and elevating show for you. I'd like to welcome all first-time listeners to the podcast. Welcome back to you who have been here before, and be sure to stay to the end of the show where I'll be sharing all my social media links where you can connect with me and the Real Elevation podcast community. Welcome back, guys. Wonderful to have you here. We have another informative, elevating and inspiring show for you, so stay tuned, listen keenly, take notes as I always encourage you to do. Now, today's episode may ruffle a few feathers, but it's exactly what we need to hear. I know when someone was talking to me about these things a few years ago, I did feel a little bit triggered, but it's all good. It's all about learning. So what I want to understand today, guys, is about your fitness, and focusing on fitness alone is not going to fix your frustrations. And that's why we've titled today's episode, Stop Being a Fraud. Why fitness alone won't fix your frustrations. Now let me explain. You see, there are many people living this life, especially high performing men and women, people who are time poor, people who are busy, and their mindset is, if I just get my body in shape, if I just start looking after myself physically, everything else will just magically fall into place. I'll feel confident, I'll have more energy, more purpose, more peace. But the reality is, if that is your mindset at the moment, you're being a fraud to yourself. So let me hit you with this truth. Fitness alone is the one piece of a very large puzzle. So fitness alone is just one piece of a puzzle. If you've been really good in terms of you dialing into your workouts, your nutrition is good, but you still got that undercurrent of feeling anxious, frustration, emotionally flat, or you're just feeling generally unfulfilled. Now, you're not broken, so let's get that straight. You're just imbalanced, you're just misaligned. So today we're going to talk about the 4 quadrants of well-being. It's a real key that I found when you apply is helping you fulfill a life of meaning, purpose, desire and drive. Yeah. So if you feel that internal friction, you feel that something's a little bit off at the moment, something's not quite right, you don't have that inner peace, or you don't have that inner peace most of the time, talking about and looking at these 4 quadrants can help. Now, you may have heard me before speak about Paul Chek and his concept of the 4 doctors, where he talks about Dr. Quiet, Dr. Diet, Dr. Movement, and Dr. Happiness. They're the 4 doctors. If you've not checked out that little book that he wrote a few years back called the last 4 doctors you'll ever need, it's definitely one to consider. I'll leave a link in the show notes so you can go check that out. So these 4 quadrants I'm talking to you about are a little bit different, but it all points towards the same principles in terms of finding that balance. Now, why is balance key? Now, you look around you, everywhere you go, you see that everything thrives in balance. And that's the same with your body, your mind, your relationships, even your purpose. We all have to have this constant to and fro in this balance. We operate in this world of 3D, of polarity, in and out, black, white, hot, cold. That's the world in the 3D concepts that we live in. So we need to have that balance. So nature tells us that. But if we are, which many people are, unknowingly out of balance or lopsided, and all we're doing is spending our energy in one quadrant, i.e. that physical quadrant, that physical fitness, what it means is those other important quadrants, they decay and we dismiss them, and that makes us feel the way we feel. So we need to make sure we're paying attention and looking after and trying to constantly maintain a good sense of balance that will help to avoid that inner turmoil, that loss of purpose, that inner friction, that frustration that many of us feel, especially when we get to that age of 40, 45, 50. We've lived a bit of life and then we get to a point and think, why do I feel the way we do? So we're going to talk about that today, guys. Stop being a fraud. Why fitness alone won't fix your frustrations. Stop being a fraud. Why fitness alone won't fix your frustrations. So the 4 quadrants of well-being, we'll start with number 1, and that is our physical body. Yep. Now, I'm not saying that fitness is not important. We do need to pay attention to that. This is almost like the gateway to the castle, but it's not the whole castle. This is our gift from God. He gave us these physical bodies to experience life through. Yes, we know that movement is important. We know we need to nourish our bodies. We need to make sure that we're looking after ourselves in terms of diet and nutrition, because of all those things that being physically active brings. It helps to regulate hormones, lowers inflammation in the body, gives us the energy to engage in life. In other words, it allows us to do the things that we want to do. And if that's not looked after, we've got some sort of issue, or if that's compromised anyway, so we're struggling with pain, we're struggling with movement, we're overweight, we're feeling flat, we've got no energy, we can't do those things that we want to do. So it's important that we do look after our physical body, making sure that we're doing what we can on a daily basis to invest in our physical well-being. So we need to be prioritizing exercise. So strength exercise, you heard me talk about that previously. Moving our body 3 to 4 times a week, working with and against gravity. We need to get out and walk, especially in nature. If we can do that, we're going to be helping our physicality. We need to make sure that we're hydrating our body and nourishing our body correctly, making sure we're eating things like magnesium-rich foods. We spoke about that recently. And we need to be making sure that we're being mindful and we're resting and taking time out to give our body opportunity to revitalize and rejuvenate. Yeah, but it doesn't stop there. It's a constant, ongoing process. So we need to make sure, quadrant number 1, our physical body, we're doing what we can, when we can, to look after it. You've heard me say it many times before, your fitness without the right consistency and frequency is foolish and flawed. Now, you don't want to be foolish and you don't want to be flawed. So make sure you're looking after quadrant number 1, which is your physical body. Number 2, mental, your mindset and your beliefs. You can't outtrain a mind that's consistently self-sabotaging. So we know that what we believe about ourselves becomes our reality. If we're feeding ourselves negative mindset thoughts, talking about fear, self-judgment, being in that mode of busyness all the time, frustration always follows along, even in a fit body. So if you're someone who's working out in the gym, doing all the physical exercises, but the way you talk to yourself internally, you're self-judging yourself, you're busy all the time, you've got no time to be still, that's going to manifest in your life and you're going to become frustrated. So let me ask you this simple question. What are your current beliefs about yourselves right now? Are they helping you or are they hindering you from reaching your true potential? I know for a long period of time, and I've shared this story before, when it came to my mindset, it's something that needs to be addressed. And we need to be doing this all the time. It's not just a one-time fix, it's a process. It's something that we need to be checking in and saying, are these thoughts helping me? But I've shared that story with you before about my battle for many years about writing a book. And it wasn't until I started working with a coach and he challenged me on that current belief. Because I got low grades in English, I had this internal narrative, this belief that I could not write a book. And here we are today, author of 2 books. So he pushed back, made me think about that belief, It was there to control me. It wasn't there to help me live my potential, let me do the thing that I really wanted to do, something that I wanted to experience, becoming an author. So he said, well, just because you got a D in English, does that mean that you can't write a book? No, it doesn't. So ask yourself about your current beliefs right now. Are they helping you or are they hindering you? Yeah, if it's not there to help you, it's there to control you. So check in with your thoughts. Yeah, we know that our brain subconsciously is the governor of our reality. Not the conscious thoughts, the subconscious thoughts, the things that maybe we're a bit blind to. But ask yourself the question, what are my constant, current, dominant thoughts? Are they helping me or are they moving me forward? So think about things that you can do to help you with that. So giving yourself space. I mentioned about being in that mode of busyness all the time. Give yourself 10 minutes a day for mindfulness practices. Doing some breath work, doing some journaling, praying, meditating. Yep, doing things like digital detox. We live in this world where we're just constantly battered with digital information all the time. And it's difficult, I know, because we've become so interwoven with technology now. It's very difficult. But we need to think about how we can give ourselves a little bit of a space and a break from that. So try some mindfulness practices, journaling, meditating, just doing some simple breath work, and also about unplugging from the system, taking his time away from digital items, screens, laptops, computers, TVs, and just being still. Okay, quadrant number 3, emotional heart connection. Yeah. Now, this is a big one for many people, and it's something I'm very much learning about and embracing as I continue on my journey of fitness and well-being. And most men and women over the age of 40 have very weak emotional muscles, weaker than the hamstrings that you see in most people. Now, suppressing our emotions isn't a sign of strength, and I know for many guys that I've spoken to, myself included, this was seen as a norm. Speaking about your emotions, speaking about how you felt about certain topics or certain situations, it was just normal for guys to keep quiet. But when we disconnect from our hearts, when we disconnect from how we're feeling, everything else suffers. Our relationship suffers, our motivation dips, our productivity and our performance also takes a backward step. So it's something, as I mentioned, I have really awakened to recently on my journey. I used to be someone who used to just keep quiet and just shut up and put up and not say how I felt. But I've grown, you could argue and say, more emotionally intelligent with myself and the people around me. Because if I'm being honest and truthful to the people that I'm interacting with, it's only going to help them. You know, if I'm being secretive or not saying how I feel or saying things behind their back or not emotionally expressing myself, that's not going to help our relationship in any capacity, whether it's with my wife, my children, my mum, my clients, the people that I work with. I need to express and talk about how I'm feeling about a certain situation. So my emotions and the way I want to speak to people is very, very important. So we know from a scientific point of view, it's also bad for our health as well. When we're suppressing our emotions, we can raise stress, cortisol hormones, hormones like cortisol in the system as well. And it compromises our immune response. So keeping things bottled in is never a good thing. So we need to be able to express ourselves, be open, and be emotionally intelligent, as I was saying, talking to people in a way that they understand how you're feeling about certain things. Kids are great at this, you know. They have very little filters, and that can be a good thing, it can also be a bad thing. But kids will very often, especially under the age of 10, 8, they'll tell you how they feel. If they're upset about something, they will say it. They won't mute. They'll often express how they feel. So we need to take a leaf from their book in that regard and just talk about how we feel. Be emotionally intelligent, be emotionally open, connect with our heart. What are we actually feeling? Okay, so finally, quadrant number 4, and that is spiritual, your purpose and your presence. Now, bear with me on this one and stick with me, because I know for a lot of people, when it comes to speaking about spirituality and life purpose and presence, they can get kind of overwhelmed and kind of lost. But the reality is, without this, You're just kind of ticking boxes in a life that doesn't really feel like yours. So you need to understand what your purpose is and have a growing spiritual development or understanding of what spirituality is to you. Now, let me be clear. It doesn't mean that you have to sit in the yoga position, chanting Om and burning incense. That's not what I'm talking about here in terms of spirituality. You have to understand that it's something that you recognize that is beyond you. Within you, but beyond you. It's something that, without it, your success feels kind of hollow. Take the Real Rejuvenation podcast, for example. It's my mission to help people find more freedom through fitness. Now, that's just not about me. That's my mission. That's my message, to help people who maybe feel trapped or stuck, or their bodies a prison to them, but through the right fitness, through the right understanding about nutrition, diet, physical and mental well-being, they can elevate their understanding so they can find more freedom through fitness. That's not just about me, that's my purpose, that's my message. That's what I'm trying to, well, not trying to, that's what I am doing. And that's what it is to have a understanding of it, something that's not just about myself, it's beyond me, and that's my spiritual connection and growing and my development of my higher purpose, if you like. So when we have this higher purpose, or this sense, or this developing understanding of a higher purpose, it activates certain areas of the brain, that prefrontal cortex, that helps to promote longevity within us. It helps us to boost more resilience, and it also helps us to increase our resilience to stress. So with people that have that strong sense of purpose can recover faster. Research has shown that it helps them with that sense of, I can get over this illness or this issue that's come up in my life. And they also report a higher sense of satisfaction, because they're not just doing something for them. They understand that they're doing something for the greater good. So it's important that you begin a journey of this spiritual awakening or understanding and find what gives you that presence and something that gives you that purpose. So one of the things that you can do in terms of an action step is to ask yourself weekly, what would make today meaningful? Simple question, but what would make today more meaningful? So don't just think about going through the motions, going to work, deal with the kids, doing the usual things on your to-do list. Think about what would make today more meaningful. Secondly, you can think about creating space for solitude. We spoke about this before, where we talk about making sure that we're being more mindful. But you can also do this by giving yourself 10 minutes a day for solitude. Just going inward, thinking about what can you be grateful for? What's the bigger meaning behind what I did today, my interactions with people today? And another thing you can do, and I often do this, well, I say often, I do this from time to time, and that serve someone else without expecting anything back. So, we often do things to get things. If I do this, I'll get that. But in terms of developing a sense of spirituality, is doing something just as a higher purpose or bigger or grander meaning. Do something, don't expect anything back. Try that and see how that makes you feel. What sort of areas of the brain does it get you to activate, and how does it get you to feel when you do something along that giving without expecting to receive? So that's quadrant number 4, your spirituality, developing your starting off on your spiritual journey and finding your purpose and a sense of presence. So let's put it all together now, guys. If you're listening to this and thinking, you know what, my workouts are good, and diet is pretty good, but something still feels a little bit off. The truth is that you are not alone. What's missing isn't doing more reps or doing more diet plans or following the latest and greatest eating plan. It's more about nourishing and fulfillment and wholeness. The reality is that we are not machines. We are a unique expression of God, a universe. The universe experiencing itself through us, through the I Am. You're a multi-dimensional being on this human experience, this human journey. So when you start investing in all 4 quadrants, talking about your body, talking about your mind, talking about how you feel, your heart and your soul, you'll stop feeling like a fraud because you're being true to yourself. You stop pretending this outward persona that we often wear. You become integrated, you become more resilient because you're being true to yourself. And the word here that we're looking at is being authentic. So many of us, we are inauthentic. We're doing things because we think we should. And I can put my hand up and testify that's something that I've done. And at times I still find myself doing it. But I'm more aware of it now, and this is why I'm sharing this with you. Fitness alone isn't going to fix your frustration. As the title said, you're just being a fraud to yourself. You need to be true and authentic as often as possible. So let's quickly overview and recap what we've gone through. If you want to feel more fulfilled, more vital, the freedom from frustration, you need to get your body moving. And we know that it's primary goal, number 1. How can I move my body, keep my body well, nourished, able, physically active? Number 1. Number 2, train your thoughts and beliefs. Ask yourself those questions. Is this thought serving me? If it's not, it's either hindering you or it's helping you to move forward. 3, connect with your emotions. Learn to be more emotionally aware. Learn to be more emotionally intelligent. And the people around you will thank you for that, not only yourself. So learn to connect with your emotions. And finally, number 4, align your daily actions with a deeper purpose. So think beyond just yourself. What can you do selflessly on a daily basis? Think about the next person. Think about your spiritual journey. Where does it start? What does that look like for you? Now, today's message hit home. That's what I'm asking now. Is what I've said resonating with you? Is it something that you think, you know what, yeah, I love what Mike said today. It does make a lot of sense. Now, if you are ready to rebalance, rejuvenate in all 4 quadrants, I'm extending an invitation for you and I to have a conversation. I'm going to leave a link in the show notes where you can fill out a form. We'll arrange a time to talk about you and how the Real Rejuvenation Program could be the next step, the next stage in your journey to finding more freedom through fitness. It's not just another fitness plan. It's a system designed to help busy men and women over the age of 45 live a strong, pain-free and purposeful led life. So if that sounds like something that you want to get involved with, I'd love to hear from you. I'll leave a link in the show notes so you can click on that, fill it out, and we'll arrange a time to talk. And if this episode has helped you, I'd love for you, as I always ask you to do, as you continue to do, and I really appreciate it, you share this with someone who you believe will benefit from it. Someone who you may know at the moment who's frustrated, maybe feeling a bit like a fraud, and they want to find freedom through doing more fulfilling things in their life, including fitness, but not just fitness as we spoke about today. So let's help more people. Let's spread the word about what we're doing over here on the Real Rejuvenation Podcast so we can help people find more freedom through fitness. All right, guys, that's it for today. I trust you found today's episode insightful and elevating and uplifting. And as I said, remember to share this with your connections and community. So until next time, remember, be well, be wise. Be cool, be calm, and keep it real. Blessings and chi. Peace.